Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Mauricio Umansky slaps Kyle Richards in face with new love. Mauricio Umansky is slapping his estranged wife, RHOBH star, Kyle Richards in the face with his new love. Seeing them together stings for Kyle, but she has a great support system to back her up. Unfortunately, Mauricio has just taken his romance with Nikita Khan to another level. This time, it feels like a personal jab to the life he and Kyle once had. Keep reading for more details. It did not take long for Mauricio Umansky to start living his best life after he and Kyle Richards announced their separation. He was cast in season 32 of Housewives alongside pro Emma Slater. The two had amazing chemistry and were having so much fun together that they took it off the dance floor. They were seen out and about, holding hands and cozying up, which Kyle shared was not easy by any means. She and Mauricio were still living under the same roof, and nothing had been decided in terms of divorce. Though nothing came of Mauricio and Emma, he was still seen out with other women and eventually moved out of the home he shared with Kyle. She has been busy filming season 14 of RHOBH, and Mauricio was seen touching down at an airport in Greece. When he arrived, a mystery woman greeted him with a warm embrace and a kiss. She was soon identified as philanthropist, actress, and interior designer Nikita Khan. They have been together for several months and have enjoyed traveling, but now Mauricio has taken it to another level. One place that has meant a lot to Mauricio Umansky, his family, and especially Kyle Richards is Aspen, Colorado. She even took her co-stars to get custom hats at her favorite place, Chemosabe. However, according to Reality T, Mauricio just slapped Kyle in the face by taking Nikita to Aspen for a romantic getaway. TN's was the one to confirm the hot new couple enjoyed cocktails at Clark's Oyster Bar. No word on whether or not they stayed at the Umansky home in Aspen. In season 12 of RHOBH, Kyle Richards took the ladies to Aspen, but it was a disaster trip. Her sister, Kathy Hilton, went off and ended up having a meltdown. This led to an estrangement that has since been mended. Therefore, Colorado may not hold the same sentimental value it once did. After seeing Mauricio Umansky and Nikita Khan taking on Aspen, fans seem to be mixed about it all. Nikita's Instagram pics are very different from reality. I think Kyle is prettier, his loss. If Kyle can parade her little Subaru midlife crisis around town, so can he out with the old and in with the new, as they say. Disrespectful to his former wife and children, IMO. Keep it private for now. Good for him. He seems very happy, as does Nikita. Now, viewers just have to tune into season 14 to see what Kyle has to say and how she and her girls are handling what is going down. Do you think Mauricio should have stayed away from Aspen knowing that was sacred to Kyle and his family, or should he make no apologies? Mauricio Umansky had always been the epitome of calm. The world knew him as the charming, unflappable real estate tycoon from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the supportive husband who always seemed to have Kyle Richards' back. But behind the scenes, their marriage had hit a rough patch, a patch that now threatened to explode into something neither of them could have ever predicted. Kyle Richards, the glamorous star of reality TV, had been living under the glaring lights of fame for years. She and Mauricio were once the power couple, the ones everyone else admired and envied. They seemed unshakable, their bond a testament to their years together. But in recent months, the cracks had started to show. Whispers of Kyle's emotional distance, Mauricio's long hours at work, and rumors of infidelity swirled like a storm waiting to unleash chaos. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Kyle sat in their grand living room, flipping through a glossy magazine half-heartedly. Her mind was elsewhere, clouded with thoughts of the strained connection she now felt with her husband. The awkward silences at dinner, the nights he didn't come home until late, the coldness in his eyes when he looked at her. Something had changed. She just didn't know what it was yet. That is, until today. Mauricio entered the room, his presence heavy with something Kyle hadn't seen in him before, guilt. He stood by the doorway, watching her with an expression that made her stomach twist. Kyle could feel the tension, the weight of unsaid words thickening the air between them. She put the magazine down, her eyes narrowing as she studied her husband. "What is it, Mauricio?" Kyle asked, her voice edged with unease. He walked further into the room, avoiding her gaze. "Kyle, we need to talk," he said, the seriousness in his tone sending a chill down her spine. Her heart pounded as she stood up, her pulse racing. "Talk about what?" she pressed, trying to keep her composure though dread gnawed at her insides. Mauricio sighed, running a hand through his hair. His eyes finally met hers, and she saw something there she hadn't expected. Shame. He opened his mouth to speak, but the words seemed to catch in his throat, leaving a silence that screamed louder than anything he could say. "I've met someone," Mauricio said, his voice barely above a whisper. Kyle froze. The room felt like it was spinning around her. She blinked, her brain struggling to process what she just heard. Met someone? What did that even mean? Her chest tightened, and she took a step back, as if the words themselves had physically hit her. "What do you mean, you've met someone?" Kyle's voice trembled with disbelief, her mind racing through the possibilities. Mauricio swallowed hard. "It's not what you think," he said quickly, though the look on his face suggested otherwise. "It's not about you. I still care about you, about us. But I've developed feelings for someone else. It just happened." Kyle's world shattered in that moment. Her husband, the man she had built a life with, was confessing to falling for someone else. The betrayal hit her like a slap in the face, sharp and stinging, the kind that leaves an invisible bruise. She took a deep breath, trying to stop the tears from welling up in her eyes, but it was no use. "Who is she?" Kyle demanded, her voice stronger now, fueled by anger and hurt. Mauricio hesitated, as though saying the name would somehow make the affair more real. "Her name is Sophia," he finally said. "We met at one of the property showings. She's in real estate too, and we've been working on a few deals together. I didn't mean for this to happen, but it just did." Kyle felt as if the ground had been pulled from beneath her feet. Sophia, some woman in real estate? How long had this been going on? How long had Mauricio been sneaking around behind her back while she had been at home, clueless and trusting? "How long?" she asked through gritted teeth, her fists clenched at her sides. Mauricio looked away. "A few months." "A few months." Kyle's voice cracked with fury. "You've been seeing this woman for months, and you're just telling me now?" The betrayal was unbearable. This wasn't some random flirtation or a momentary lapse in judgment. This was something that had been happening for months, months of lies, of secrets. Mauricio had been living a double life, and Kyle had been too blind to see it. "I never wanted to hurt you, Kyle," Mauricio said, stepping closer to her, but she backed away, shaking her head. "I didn't plan this. It just happened, but now I can't lie to you anymore. I have feelings for her, and I don't know what to do." Kyle's heart raced as she looked at her husband, the man she thought she knew, standing there, confessing his love for another woman. She had always known that fame came with challenges, that their lives in the spotlight would test their marriage. But she never thought it would come to this. "You don't know what to do," she repeated, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "How about you stop seeing her? How about you fight for our marriage?" Mauricio's silence said it all. Kyle's heart sank as the realization hit her. He wasn't here to ask for forgiveness. He wasn't here to fix things. He was here to confess because he felt guilty, but deep down, he had already made his choice, and it wasn't her. "I can't believe this," Kyle whispered, tears streaming down her face. "After everything we've been through, after all the years we've spent together, this is how it ends. With you falling for some woman you barely know." Mauricio's eyes softened, and for a moment, Kyle thought he might say something to make it better, to take it all back, but he didn't. Instead, he just stood there, looking at her with regret in his eyes. "I'm sorry," he said softly. Those words, "I'm sorry," cut deeper than anything else. It was over. Their marriage, their life together, it had all been shattered in an instant. Kyle turned away, unable to look at him any longer. Her mind was spinning, her heart breaking. She had spent years building a life with Mauricio, only to watch it crumble in the blink of an eye. And now there was nothing left to say. As Mauricio quietly left the room, Kyle stood alone, the weight of his betrayal crushing her. She had been slapped in the face with the harsh reality that the man she loved had found someone else. And now, all she could do was pick up the pieces and figure out how to move on from the wreckage of her once perfect life.